Hello guys, myself and Pablo.
Hello.
We have a big task ahead of us, a huge task. This is the first army that we want to prepare for the channel.
It's probably the new series, like 24 hours for shitty models.
We'll see. The aim of this, hopefully not too long video, is to show you how we can paint an army to a tournament standard. So 3 colors, tabletop ready, whatever you want to call it, slap chop, whatever.
Tabletop plus, I guess?
Yeah, I think tabletop plus, because we're gonna use a little bit more things than usually people use for tournaments.
Special effects to make some addition.
They are prepared in black undercoat and white zenithal. So all the models, as you can see, are white from the top and almost black from the bottom. We'll show that in up close in a minute. And we've got some paints that we are going to use to shade them, color them, and then put some special effects, as Pablo said. First, we've got Agarose Dunes, a paint that I've got shit tons of abundance, and I've thought that I might use it over here. Basically, it's going to be used at the bottom of the model, just to give it a little bit of shade, a little bit of contrast from the ground up. Then we've got some sheished purple to put on fleshy parts on the blight hole drones, or whatever they are called. We've got contrast plague bearer flesh, and as the name suggests, is going to be the armor and the main color of all the models. And we're going to put it with the use of an airbrush. When we've got that done, actually we should change the order. We've got silver. It's a homemade silver out of different silvers that I had remnants of. And then striking grime, which is the most favorite color paint special effect for modelers around the world to make their models look shitty.
And it will probably take the most of time to make it happen.
Yeah, because that's gonna be put with a paint. A paintbrush. And then we're gonna use this amazing rust streaks, rust or soluble, what it's called, dirty down rust. Paint on some of the metallic parts and some of the armor parts to show that they are rusty and beaten up and old and plagued and rotten and so on and so on and so on. After that, we are going to look at the models and think again what we need to add, maybe some highlights, maybe something else. But this is the main goal for a couple of hours that we've got to spend on these models. Again, obviously, for some of the models, I mean for the infantry and the drones, whatever they're called, there's going to be a texture paint on the bases, just to tighten up and finish them off. And obviously, the rims of the bases, there's the only one color that we paint the rims of the bases.
Is black.
It's black, yeah.
And in addition, it's exactly 2,000 points right now. It's before the chapter approved. So we're gonna show you that it is possible to make it happen in one night, I think.
One night, 2 guys.
2 guys, 1 night, exactly.
2 guys, 1 night, plenty of plague bearers. So we invite you to the video, and I hope you're gonna stay with us until the end. Right, so let's look at the process quickly. What we're gonna do is to take the model and spray dark colors at the bottom, then cover the whole model in green, plague bearer flesh, or plague bearer flesh, and then when it's done, Pablo over here is going to take a brush or take an airbrush and do some details with metallic paints, and maybe, if it's ready, striking grime.
Exactly.
So we're going to cut the work in half. So whatever time you see at the end is you need to double it if you're doing it on your own, basically.
I think yes.
And add a little bit more. Well, actually, remove something because you haven't painted in a while.
That's a fact, but I'm a very, very fast painter.
So yeah, I was just trying to make a joke, but it didn't work. Yeah, so basically, whichever time we end up spending on it, double it, and this is your time needed. Obviously, there are other ways to paint it. You don't need to put these 2 colors, like these really dark colors at the bottom. It's going to save you some time. You can skip the fleshy parts at the bottom of these ones. As you can see, these are primed with zenithal, so they're a little bit darker. But we are going to make the most of it. And what I think the thing that's going to keep the time longer is that we are using contrast paints. And it's not really hot over here, so they're gonna dry a little bit slower. But I think that by the time I finish the last one, the first one is gonna be dry, and we're gonna be able to do the work.
If not, we're gonna use the hair dryer, I think.
yeah, we've got a hairdryer over here, which is perfect for fast painters, for speed painters. I use it all the time because that's what I do. I speed paint my models. I don't have time for that. So I think that we can start. We can start putting some dark colors at the bottom of the models. So I think you can do that,
Okay.
and I can start doing the fleshy purple on the fleshy parts. So yeah, let's start the work.
What is your call, to be honest? Like about 5-6 hours more?
My call for both of us.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, if we're not gonna make shit talk, it's like 6 hours to make it happen all.
6 hours for both of us, which means 12 hours for someone, for a single person. It's gonna take us 6 hours.
Yes.
I think it's gonna take us 4 hours. Because I'm gonna start cutting corners and you're gonna see that. It's gonna be like, oh fuck that.
Okay. Sounds like a deal to me.
I say 4 hours, you say 6 hours, and
So,
it's gonna be probably 5 hours. So I would say that's about it. That's what you need on a model, just to show that there is some dirt. We're gonna be putting some brown texture paint, dark earth, I believe, from AK. I think that's gonna be it. That's gonna do the job. So now Pablo has all of these to do, and I'll start with this one to put green on it and fleshy colors. That's how the model looks right now. We've added some colors over here. Pablo suggested we highlight it. We actually reverse highlight it. We darken it. We darken it from the bottom over here with the warm color. So when the green comes, it's gonna be much better, I think. We'll see. As you can see, we are in the process. Plenty of things are done. We've got all the vehicles done, and now we're moving to putting still the, what's it called, agaros dunes on the bottoms of the guard. So you're gonna continue with these and start with from the right. I'm gonna start from the left.
and
we're gonna meet up in the middle. Yeah, exactly. Malcolm in the middle. Right. So let's carry on, and you guys can watch us. We're not gonna record everything because I have never watched the whole, I don't know, time lapse or any other shit. Even though I love the creators like Goobertown and others who do like time lapses, I always go. Oh, so that's the result. I don't have time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. So I'm gonna show you in a close-up how these guys look. So as you can see, we've got some darkened colors, and we've got some purple over here. Unfortunately, the purple is too dark. This contrast is very dark. It's almost like black, but there is a little bit warm color in there, so I'm just gonna leave it. It wasn't the best idea. This color was not the best choice. So now let's move on to these guys, and again do the bottoms, or the legs, and maybe just maybe, as Pablo said, do some other things, because the green is going to be really saturated. And just do the heads like that, maybe.
I think it's okay.
And the arms slightly.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Again, we are not aiming for perfection. We are aiming for quick and dirty and done. QDD. Quick, dirty, done. This is something that we want. Hopefully we have not overdone it. Hopefully it's going to be just about right.
I see just the little problem with the purple because it's losing, I think.
It's lost. It's lost in the dark. Yeah, in the dark undertones. But fast painting is a hit and miss. I don't have great experience in that, so let's just carry on. Right, we've finished with browns and violets that look like black.
And most of the violets are lost for me.
Most of the violets are lost, but I think that there's gonna be some undertone, like a warm undertone, and if I dry brush it later on with some lighter purple or pink, it's gonna show up.
Looking from the perspective of the time, if we change the levels of the colors, probably it will look better if we make the brown first and then violet. But I think it's still
Maybe.
It's still okay.
What we're gonna start with is Plague Bearer Flesh. Now I'm gonna put it in my airbrush and I'm gonna start off with first model, just to show you how it's gonna look like. I don't know yet how it's gonna be. We haven't done a test model, which is maybe a bad idea to start with painting, but we have to do the whole thing, so let's get it on. So I'm gonna put the model in front of the camera and let's go. I'm gonna go over the browns as well and the invisible purple. The reason I put the green over the browns as well is that just in case it went a little bit too runny and there are some white gaps showing in the crevices, I'm gonna cover them with green, and as you can see, it's gonna look very, I wouldn't say realistic, but organic, that it actually has been dusted with some dirt from the ground. So I'm gonna carry on, Pablo is gonna carry on with green, and I'm gonna cover all of these the same way, and it's gonna start looking like a consistent army, like a uniform army. Here you go.
Okay, thank you. For me, it look like for now we need to wait for the dry. But for me, for right now, it's tournament accept.
It's missing the base. It's missing the base, and it's missing one more color. So silver, and the silver is the next one.
For this moment, we had like 20 minutes. So for you, it's 40 minutes. So I think the green will take another half of an hour. So in total, if you're gonna drink a coffee, it's like 2 hours for you to make an army for a tournament.
Yep. It's gonna look shit, but it's gonna be acceptable, and you're not gonna miss 10 points for your roster, for your tally, and in your points. So.
And we choose the Dev Guard. Why we choose the Dev Guard? We choose the Dev Guard because it's have a very good potential to make a fast speed painting, but also the fast speed painting, and also some awesome effects. It's like army that
it likes dirt. It's
like dirt, and you can make a lot of mistakes because it's still the Dev Guard. So no one will find any place like on Ultramarines that the gold is not exactly in the place. And in my opinion, it was a good army for the first army of the series. And also we made a very good deal, to be honest.
Very good deal, my friend. Half price.
Half price, good price, my friend. Because some of our hobbyists from Poland needed to sell them.
I believe his kid was born and he needed to get rid of the stuff that is taking up space in the house, and return some money for the kid and for the. I believe so. I think that was the case. I might be wrong, but because
I think he was hard quitting.
Maybe hard quitting, just like leaving the hobby.
So it was a good price, and we took the deal. And to show you, we have a lot more to make.
There's plenty. There's like apart from these 20, there's like another 40 Plague Marines, 15 Terminators, 6 Death Shroud Terminators, an additional 4 drones.
These special drones like
3 those flies. Putrid Blight drones, I think they're called. And plenty of characters, like all of the characters, including Mortarion. What else? There's 40 Poxwalkers and 20 Plague Bearers. These nasty zombies.
And if my remember is right, when we were counting it, it was like 8,000 points in total, something like this.
Obviously, Mortarion is going to take some time, and it's going to be a special stream for that.
Special guest.
Special guest, yeah. Okay, so we've done all the yellows. We've done, well, I mean, greens. They look like yellows, but it's green actually. So we've done that. We've done all the browns. We've done all the purples that we can't see actually. So we now are moving to silver. And with silver, what are we going to paint with silver?
I think it's the most time-consuming part of this project because we need to make all the details. Without exception, we're making them the rusty, dirty down, or we're making them clear, because that's mostly the biggest part to make a difference on the model. So what do you think we're gonna spend on it? I think it will be about an hour. Because for now, we spent like 20 minutes for the first part, 20 minutes for the second part.
So 40 minutes, two of us.
Exactly.
I think it's going to be over an hour we're going to spend on doing all the silver bits, but it's going to be like a biggest tipping point. I would say, I think we could say that, because right now these guys look okay for a tournament even. You could go to a tournament with that if you've done the bases.
Exactly.
But now it's going to add additional layer of detail and like minute detail. We're going to paint like trims and everything, and it's going to pop. We don't have to be really precise with doing the details, which we can just simply splosh it on the models, because we still are going to use streaking grime and rust effects on it, so no big deal, but we need to have this really bright silver. You're going to paint some of the vehicles. I'm going to be doing infantry.
Exactly. So it's the game-changing point. So for now we have a very good time. The silver is the mysterious one for now.
Let's go. We are done with silver. We are half done with the bone color. The bone color is not perfect bone color, but it's bright enough to pretend to be bone after we
Streaking grime.
streaking grime it. We used Dorn yellow. I mean, I used Dorn yellow for bone, just because it's gonna pop out a little bit more. What are we going to do now is to put, I think, Gene Stealer purple. That's what we are going to go with for all the tentacles and like internal fleshy bits.
Some guts.
Yeah, guts, exactly. And I'm also going to be using a little bit similar color in an airbrush to airbrush all the butts and fleshy bits on the drones and the haulers. These look pretty nice, I think. Before we put any streaking grime on it, there's a little bit, two more small steps that we need to do, and these steps are these two colors.
And we spent what?
An hour and a half, I believe. Yeah. An hour and a half on this. So we've got 40 minutes, an hour and a half. So it's let's just round it up to 2.5 hours so far. So from my estimate, we still have an hour and a half to do it, which means do some detailing and then wash it with streaking grime, and then put the rust and texture paint. The texture paint that we're going to be using is dark earth for all the bases. So I think that we are going to go perfectly into 5 hours, because this is going to take a lot of time. It's
if you say so.
Yeah, I mean, it's plenty of detail work. So yeah, let's get on with it. Woohoo! So you are going to take the Gene Stealer purple and do the fleshy bits, and now I'm going to continue with the bones sticking out and all the claws and everything. So I've done most of it on the Plague Marines. So this is how these guys look. You need to go over these Plague Marines to do the fleshy bits on them as well.
Yep.
And that's all you're going to say. Yep.
Yep.
Let's go. My dear friends from the internet, it's the next day. We had a short break to sleep.
A little bit. Yeah.
A little bit. And we have come back to all the army dried up, except for 10 guys that we need to do the bases, because they still lack the bases done. And we've used dark earth, as I said, we used dark earth to put the bases down. And we used, as you can see, the whole army is a little bit darker. We used streaking grime and white spirit to clean it off. Now we have some only finishing touches to do, and that is dry brushing the bases with 2 browns to give them some definition. Dry brushing, we think dry brushing the whole model,
Yeah.
to pick up some detail with ochre and camo. And I'm most probably gonna come back with an airbrush and do the layers on the capes, some tentacles, and give them some spot color here and there with Ginstellar purple. Just come back with the color, and then black to do the rims. So
You don't think so? We should make also the dry brush of the silver one?
maybe we'll see how it looks when we've done the other dry brush, because personally I like the muted metals.
Okay.
I don't like them popping out too much, but maybe they will look better on the table, so we might do that as well. And obviously at the very last step, the very last step, when the models are all done, we're gonna apply some rust, dirty down rust to some of the metallic bits, because unfortunately due to shortages in stocks, we've got only one small bottle, only, how much is it?
25.
25 milliliters of dirty down rust. You are going to, oh, there's a little ball over here. You are going to stock it in your shop, right?
Exactly.
So in the future, this is going to be stocked in Hegemon shop.
Hello.
Hegemonshop.com, right?
Come to us. Very good price, high quality.
My friend. Right. So far we have spent 2.5 hours on the steps before streaking grime, and I think we spent like an hour and a half on streaking grime and cleaning it off.
So
And
for
blaze.
now, you already lost. No.
Yeah, well, I said 4 hours, and we are
Right now. It's
we passed 4 hours. But I was thinking of putting all these paints only. I didn't think, I've completely forgot
Yeah.
about these steps. So I still lost because we need to put rust on it.
And finally, we're making them a little bit better than in the plan, because we're making more colors and effects.
Yes, yeah. I mean, that's how it goes, basically. So you look at the army and say, I could spend a little bit more time. So that's what we encourage you to do. We have some inconsistencies because of the undercoat, how it went. One model has been done better, the other one has been done a little bit worse. I'm going to show you over here. This one is really popping out like a princess, and this one is more like dulled color because the undercoat wasn't that bright in the first place.
It's just the older brother, it's okay.
Yeah. So yeah, you can see a short time lapse when we start doing these things, and we'll come back to you in a few minutes. Let's go. We ran into a bit of a problem. It seems that if you wash all your models with white spirit, this thing, and then leave it on the base without cleaning it up, and then put the AK Dark Earth paste. It may take up to 10 hours for it to dry and evaporate, and some of the bases were still wet and mushy to the touch, so we couldn't dry brush them.
So it's making a little bit of a resistance.
Resistance. It's being temperamental, as they say. The other thing is that this drone has suffered a close encounter with the lens. I pulled the wire and it smashed the drone to bits. Luckily, I managed to put it together and it's fine. It's a bit different now. Looks different.
It's another model.
It's another model, but it's okay. The texture over here is, I think it's going to be fine for delicate dry brushing, which Pablo is going to do. And in the meantime, I'm going to be taking this Dorn Yellow just to keep the paint temperature and everything else. We're not going to introduce additional paint. I'm just going to start highlighting some edges here and there, and maybe do a dry brush and sponge weathering with silver. And that, after dry brushing and painting the rims black, this is going to be almost it. The only thing that's going to remain is to do purple highlights and maybe some reds here and there to put some spot colors, put some wow effect on the models, and that's going to be it. So we are now in our 5 plus hours. So we are still below 6, which you planned. So we are between there. I was very optimistic with I would do it in 4 hours, 8 hours total.
And I was realistic because I'm a slow guy, you're the fast guy, and
no,
it's in the middle.
It's not that. It's that we added a little bit of layers, and when I looked at the paints, I said, no, it's going to take that much time. But then these came around, and I thought,
and the white spirit case with Sticking Grime also make a big difference on the impact of the time.
Yes. Definitely, the bases took a little bit longer. So we're going to start doing the highlights. We're going to start doing the bases, and we are nearing the end. And I hope that this one of the first videos on our channel is going to show you that we want to do things. These things don't usually plan out as come to fruition as we planned. It's sometimes unexpected things happen, and we need to change and adapt, overcome, survive.
Like camera attack on the drone.
Yeah, I pulled the wire and it went like whoop. Yeah, something like that. So we've got.
I think it's also the good case because it's a real life situation when we have some troubles and we still can manage it. I think.
Yep.
So if you're saying you cannot paint your army
in a day,
fact.
In a day, because normally it would take you a day or a weekend. Basically, you could say a weekend, 6 hours one day, 6 hours the other day, and you've got the army ready. So no excuses.
So right now we're making this very special first layer of dry brush. So it's like British uniform from AK, and it looks like. And after we're gonna make it happen on all the models, we're gonna use the Ushabati bone to make it pop up a little bit. We are on the final step. Hopefully, I think, because we added some special effects, and I think this step had the biggest impact on the models, because we have only left to make a rust from Dirty Down, and it will make a very big impact also. But for now, what we made? We made the bases with dry brush.
Additionally, what we made, we made a super flashy highlight to make the models pop. You dry brushed all the metallics. And we've dry brushed the bases twice and added
three types of
tufts from Paintforge, so Polish company, Paintforge. and you're gonna see the colors and why we chose them. We're gonna tell you in a second. So what are we going to do now is to finish all the tufts. We've got a couple models and infantry to do, and dirty down rust is going on the models.
At the last step, we're gonna make the varnish on all the models, and it's done.
At the very end when we're done.
For now, we spent about
6.5 hours, I think. Six to 6.5 hours, I would say. Because we kept adding layers upon layers upon layers.
Exactly.
But this is what happens. This is something that you need to take into consideration when you plan to do your army. If you plan to do it in 12 hours, add additional 2-4 mistakes. You live and you learn. I have not done many of these speed painting armies in one day. Next one will be better. So
Exactly.
yeah, but still, it proves that during the weekend, you're gonna have a busy weekend.
It's still possible.
It's still possible. So now move to the dirty down, which will take effect and will show up at the very end. So the pictures will be at the very end of this video. For now, you can see these. We'll show these models how they look with all the tufts and everything, and that would be it. That's the project done, basically.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried because for now we have a very big green-yellow type of model with some silver, and with dirty down we're gonna make this very warmer version of themselves.
There's gonna be plenty of warm tones added, but again, as I said before, we've got very limited amount of rust, so we need to start with the most important things and then keep adding the additional ones. Like we need to do the weapons first and small dots on the skirts of all the drones, like over here. Do these bits, start with the weapons, then these things because they will impact the most, and then maybe do some of the spots over here, and maybe then on the armor. So we need to sort of try it out, especially that we still need to do a little bit of each of the infantry guys with rust streaks, the rust thingy.
But we have a very big hope in this product, so let's try it out.
What you can start doing is to start putting rust on it, on the models that already have all the tufts.
If you say so.
And I'm gonna finish putting the tufts on and glue the lawnmower onto the drone.
Okay.
Yep. What you can do with dirty down when you apply it, if it seems that it's unnatural a little bit and things are too thick, it went too thick, you can just take your dirty paint water, since it's dirty down anyway, you can just sort of cover it and sort of tighten it, not tighten it, dilute it slightly. This mortar gun is proper rusty, but let's just sort of dilute it ever so slightly, all the flat surfaces.
We are done and the project is done.
Yes, we have managed to put dirty down rust on all of the models, so the whole army with, I keep tossing it in the air, with one little bottle. We have not overused it on the whole entirety of the model. We have used it pinpoint sort of wash. So I think we used half of the bottle. It's very effective. I'm going to show you some pictures of the models themselves when it's dry, because it takes some time to dry. Basically what you do, you put it on the model first, and then you take a brush, a big brush or a small brush, and apply additional water and try to sort of muscle it into the surface
and imitate the real effect of water on the metal.
And soften the edges and everything else, so it looks as natural and ununiform as possible. So we've done 20 Plague Marines, 1 character, 9 drones, or whatever they're called, Plague Crawlers, Death Guard, and their names. It's even worse than Orcish models, where the name come from, you don't know where from. Anyways, we're done. More or less 12 hours in total for the whole project. It is possible.
For one guy, but for us?
Yeah, for one guy. So for us it took us 6 hours, more or less. We have been taking plenty of breaks. So yeah, for you, you can also take breaks. You can do section of the models. You can put one color, and without stretching it, a week is no problem. A weekend is a stretch. You can, you know, it's a 2 days of work, but you can have an army in a weekend. An army that looks like this. We know it's not perfect, but it's good enough for battle reports. It's good enough for our cabinets in the shop, and good enough to play with. Thank you. We see you again.
See you soon.